We came up with a fun idea for our 100th episode, plus we have a big announcement. This is episode 100. I'm Soraya.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. All right, 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years, not quite, but almost 2 years, 100 episodes. And you had a fun idea for our big 100th episode. And do you want to tell them what we're doing, or do you want me to?
We are coming up with ideas of if we could make a land, what would our ideas be?
Yep, our own land.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to each develop a new land, and we didn't really specify which, if it had to be in Disneyland or Disney World, so it could be either. But do you have a preference of where yours goes?
I don't think it really matters.
I mean, Disneyland doesn't have space. This is pretending they have the room.
I kind of forgot to plan, and so
even though it was your idea weeks ago.
Yeah, so I kind of had to scramble to just get the minimum,
to meet the minimum requirements. What did we say were the requirements?
Okay, there has to be a shop. There has to be at least one place to eat, and then 2 attractions.
Okay, at least 2 attractions.
Yeah.
And the attractions do not necessarily have to be rides.
Nope.
But you do have to have attractions. Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna after recording this, I'm gonna start I'm gonna actually plan it and have this whole big
I'm
plan.
Sure you will.
And then
it's like when you walk away from an argument and then 20 minutes later you're like, oh, I should have said that.
Exactly. That's that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have these very
grand
detailed,
ideas.
I'm gonna have
concept art
of attractions and shops and stuff. And it's just and then what's actually recorded is just meh.
Yeah. That's okay. So to make it even worse, I actually came up with 2 lands.
Yeah.
And you have 1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with 1, and then you'll do yours, and then I'll do my other one. And the reason why I came up with 2 is because my first land is totally for me. So it's not one that I would say that they should really do, although I would love it, but I don't know that it would necessarily be as popular as it would be with me.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right, should we start?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so my first land, the one that is solely for me, I mean, it should just be called Land for Soraya or Soraya's Land, but it's not. We'll say it's called the Vault. I don't know. Maybe the name has room for improvement. It could be totally changed.
It was workshopped 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. I never really came up with a name. We were just trying to scramble for that one. But basically, these are the underrated movies, the movies that get no love in the parks that I love and adore, and I think that they absolutely should have something in the parks. Something. So let's give them a land. All right? So my attractions, the first one, I've said this so many times before, it is Emperor's New Groove, and the name of the attraction is Yzma's Wrong Lover. And this is a thrill ride. And I don't even know if this is possible, so those Imagineers are going to have to get really, cracking at coming up with I think that they can, but I know that they can. But what I think that they should do is you load into your ride, you drop, and then you hear Yzma say, "Wrong lover!" And then you immediately go into a roller coaster, or it goes back up, and then you start the roller coaster.
I think, well, what do you mean by immediately?
Either you drop and then you start at a roller coaster from that point,
I feel
or you come back, you drop, then come back up, and then start a roller coaster.
Because I don't know how immediate they can do it. Because I'm sure they can you can drop and then do it, but
there has to be some sort of
it has to disconnect.
I don't mind that. You're not getting out of the vehicle.
Okay, yeah.
Is my point.
Right.
Even though they drop, then they come back up, and then but I'm gonna say for our purposes for this ride, you get into the vehicle, it drops, and either it comes back up and then starts as a roller coaster, or it starts as a roller coaster from where you dropped. I don't really care.
Okay.
But in any case, there's a drop part and a roller coaster part, because that's what happens. And if you drop and there's alligators there, that's even better. But, you know.
That lover does have alligators.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so my second attraction, and this one is, I think it should be a time machine. It's for Meet the Robinsons. But here's my problem with the time machine. I can only visualize, I really only can see this being a simulator ride. And I can't do simulators. But for the purpose of it needs to be a Meet the Robinsons ride or attraction.
Okay, so this whole land is hypothetical. So
It's
hypothetically,
I don't
you
get
got
sick
over,
on.
yeah,
Okay,
you got
there you
over
go.
your whole
That'll
motion
work.
sickness stuff.
That'll work. Or maybe it's like some blend of something where it's not so extreme and maybe it works for me. Like, I don't know. But anyhow, maybe it's not going to be a simulator. But I think there should be a time machine, and I don't know if it's Keep Moving Forward is the name, or it's The Future Has Arrived is the name. I love that idea, The Future Has Arrived, because that song is in the movie. But it needs to be able to be easily kept to where that's the future, unlike Tomorrowland that is totally in the past now, you know. I want it to be able to easily be updated, which is why I think a simulator is probably the best for that.
Yeah.
Because all they have to do is have a new video and program you don't have to actually change a whole lot. But anyhow, so that's my second attraction. My third attraction, because most likely those first two attractions are going to have height requirements.
Yeah.
My third attraction is for all ages. It's going to be a dark ride. It's going to be for the movie Bolt. And it's basically going to be the journey of Bolt and Mittens and Rhino going and making their way back to Penny. And you'll have all the classic moments and, you know, you don't know the power of styrofoam moments, you know, all those kinds of things as you go through. And it'll have that the song of when they're traveling and all that. And I just think that'd be adorable. And I would ride that ride over and over again.
You would.
I totally would.
You would.
Okay, so those are my attractions for my land, right?
Yeah.
So my food options. We're going to start from the back at the third and work our way forward. We're going to go backwards through these rides or these movies now. For Bolt, we need the Waffle House, which
Yes.
I believe there is a restaurant chain called the Waffle House. We don't have them here, but I think that is what it's called in other parts of the country. And so they might have to tweak the name a little bit, but they need a Waffle House because I'm pretty sure they call it the Waffle House in the movie.
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember now. But anyhow, and it doesn't have to, it can either be a sit down or a quick service. I don't really care. But we need to have Waffle Houses or a Waffle House because that's in the movie. For Meet the Robinsons, I love this idea. It's a food cart. It's called You've Seen the Toast, and it's toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yes.
They don't have anything like that, and
No.
kids would love it. And honestly, because it's toasted, I think adults would like it even more than just a typical peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
And I just love that part of the movie. He's seen the toast. Anyway, so I think that we should call it You've Seen the Toast, and it's toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Nice.
All right, but my favorite is from The Emperor's New Groove, because of course that is my favorite of the movies. The diner that they go to when they're journeying and they're dressed up and everything, but all the menu items. And again, this could be a sit down or a table service. Or a quick service. I prefer the Waffle House as a quick service and this as a table service.
Yeah.
But it could be reversed. And but the names of everything are like the diner names that Kronk gives. And, you know, the reason why I like it as a sit down is because then, you know, if it's a sit down and people have their birthdays, they can come and do the birthday song, the one that they do in the movie and all of that. But anyway, so I love that for a food option for this land.
Yeah.
Okay. Shop, I don't know. If the name of the land isn't called the Vault or something, maybe we can play on that for the shop, you know, Into the Vault or something like that. Otherwise, it could just be Cusco's because everything is about Cusco, and he's so egotistical that he would have a gift shop for himself. Of course, it would have things from all of the, you know, movies that just don't get love, but it would mostly be Cusco.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my first land. How about
my
you?
stuff is so underwhelming after that.
Aw.
Like, literally, there's like only one thing that's okay. There's like 2.5 things that's like actually like a cohesive, like, okay, this is a start of an idea.
So what I think is hilarious about this is your idea to begin
Okay.
with, And you're the one that wants to be an Imagineer.
Okay.
And you're the
okay.
more creative one than I am
Okay.
totally not nearly as creative as you.
I'm working. Because I don't. Okay.
You're gonna defend yourself now.
Yeah, I can't really. I don't really have any excuses.
That's okay.
And I will say that everything I came up with was pretty much like 10 minutes ago. Not even that. I feel like it's. I don't know. Yeah, about 10 minutes.
Okay. That's all right. Give us your best shot. What's it called?
Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay. So the land will be Gravity Falls, and will be called that because it fits.
Okay. So Gravity Falls. I was not very familiar with Gravity Falls until you started really watching them. It's from like a decade ago.
It is like it literally just had its 10th anniversary.
Yeah, so it's like really kind of not current. However,
it has a massive fan base.
Yeah, and you never got into it until just now.
Well, yeah, because we never had Disney Channel.
That's true. We didn't have Disney Channel.
Yeah,
and now, of course, with Disney Plus, we do get all the episodes.
Yeah, and like I said, there's like a huge community still.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I kept hearing like how great it is. Like, oh.
Well, and the other thing that's really true about why this could still actually potentially be a legitimate, like actually have a following enough of a following to warrant it, is that the age group of the kids that really got into it now are old enough to be going themselves, and so they would be still, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like, even though Gravity Falls is like really originally a kids show, it's like not only is it good enough for like everyone to enjoy it, but like
you made us watch a lot of the episodes, and they were entertaining.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like also I feel like half the community is just like at least 16, probably older.
Yeah.
Like several, like many adults. And like,
yeah. All right, so Gravity Falls.
I'm stalling for time.
That's okay.
Okay. I'm going to start with food because why not? So I have one, like actually, like one of these is like an actual idea, and it's a table service. And it's at the Northwest Mansion, and so it's kind of like
that makes sense.
A bit more fancy.
Yeah.
And
stuffy.
so like because even though it's Gravity Falls, that was my first idea.
and for those who are not familiar with Gravity Falls, the Northwest Mansion is where this rich family lives, the Northwests.
Yeah. And like they're the stereotypical, oh, we're all rich and we're perfect and all that.
Yeah. They're a bit snobby.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
And so it'd be kind of fancy, kind of like dining with them.
Yeah.
And
would it be haunted?
I think, okay, so like not
it's
like
only one episode. It's not like it's constant.
Okay, so I think like it would be like mainly normal, but like every once in a while.
Halloween.
Oh yes, yeah.
Halloween will have a makeover or something.
Definitely for Halloween, there will be like it'll be haunted and all that.
Oh, that's
but
a great
I think
idea.
like every once in a while, like especially like in like mirrors or like reflections, you can kind of see something like for a brief moment.
Sure, but it's
because
not,
like it's still technically haunted the whole time.
Right.
It's just like it doesn't. It's only like it's specifically that one day.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, the Halloween overlay would be great.
Awesome.
And so I couldn't really think of like something I would definitely want as a quick service. And so for now it will be the diner. I believe it's the name is slipping me.
The diner that's in the show.
Yeah, and it's really bothering me. But
okay.
But anyways, that's what I have. I think I definitely would want that anyways.
Yeah.
But I definitely want a different
makes sense.
quick service that's not just straight from the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's all I have for now for food. But yeah,
it's that's all right.
It's a quick
service. We didn't say you had to have a number of things. We just said have something for food.
Yeah, anyways. So that's what I have for food. For shop, it's a given. It's the Mystery Shack. Like you can't have a Gravity Falls Land and not have the Mystery Shack.
Yeah,
and be able to
you have to have the Mystery Shack.
And along with it being shop, it has like a little. It's not really a show, but it's more like a tour where.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, like where you're kind of like stand kind of like tours you around like all the like kind of like the museum, like all
the novelties, the things that they have in there.
Yeah, like the touristy like stuff.
The museum like stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of like a mini attraction.
Yeah, it's kind of like how when you're at, and this is not Disney, but when you're at Universal in not Diagon Alley, in Hogsmeade, when you do the Ollivander shop, and you actually have like the little
That is Diagon Alley.
Oh, maybe it is Diagon. You're right. No, I thought it was. We saw it at Hog. Oh, you're right.
Well, maybe the
one that we saw. Anyways, whatever. When you go into Ollivanders, and you're right, that is Diagon Alley. But I thought I could have sworn maybe we did. I don't remember.
Because only Florida has Diagon Alley, right?
Yeah.
So maybe
it was when we went to this one. Anyways, when you go into Ollivanders, they have like a pre-show before you get into the shop. You can skip it, but if you want to see the show, you kind of have that part, and then there's the shop attached to it. You go into the shop right after you do the Ollivander part, and or the wand selection. And so maybe it'd be kind of like that, where you have that, and then there's the shop. But people can, of course, bypass it, just go into the shop.
Yeah, and that's why I have it as like
perfect.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Okay. So for the more attraction-y things, I do actually have an idea.
Okay.
Like a solid idea. And it's going to be, I don't have a name for it, but it's basically at Crash Site Omega. And for those who don't know, which you look like you don't know either.
I don't either.
It's the kind of like alien spaceship that's kind of like hidden at the town. And so basically, I'm trying not to go into too many details because I don't know how many. Like,
well, what kind of a ride would it be?
It would be like sort of like the magnetic track sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like Rise of Resistance.
Right.
And so basically, the whole that whole area became a like Sam like, oh, this would be good for tourists.
Right.
So following along, kind of like the same idea of those things. So basically, it's almost like kind of the idea of Indiana Jones where they found the temple, made it like a tourist destination. That's basically what it is. So,
okay.
So like kind of like almost a mix between Indiana Jones and Rise of Resistance.
Okay.
Where you're kind of going through this like alien spaceship, and at first it's kind of chill, like it doesn't like you're kind of cool.
Yeah.
You're like descending and like kind of see stuff, and then the security system that was thought to be dead gets triggered, and so then all of a sudden you're being chased by the security system.
Nice. Fun.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, that's cool. And there's so many odd things that happen in this show. You could easily find any of those. Yeah. And do you have another idea too?
I do. It's very, and I also just had another one this moment, but it's a very, it's not really an idea, but it's something.
Okay.
But basically, I just had this idea. I was like, maybe like, and it's kind of like inspired by Space Mountain during Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And it's I don't know if I really like this idea.
Okay.
But it's basically kind of like this small roller coaster, but with a bunch of ghosts, because there's like, in like the journal, like there's like 10 categories of ghosts and all that. I don't know how much I love it.
All right.
But it's an idea.
Okay.
But I had just now another idea, basically kind of like if there's a show, but it was like put together by Mabel.
Oh, okay.
I don't have anything other than that.
That would be kooky and funny.
Yeah, but that's like, all I have is just like a show put together by Mabel.
That would be entertaining.
Wait, it can be a puppet show because of the sock opera.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That'd be fun. All right, good job.
So that's my half thought up plan for a land.
That's not bad. That's more than half.
Even though I had like,
I'd say more than half.
3 weeks
At
to
least.
prepare. Yeah, I think about like more like a month.
Because we decided
month and
on
a
this way before I even left for my cruise, and that was over 3 weeks ago.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so like month and a half.
At least, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so my last land is more realistic, and I have to say, I came up with this before we heard that it is actually a possibility, but it's not a done deal. At the D23, they announced, they were saying that they've got ideas for new lands, and they said they did a lot of, well, what if we did this, or what if we did that? And so no one knows what they're going to land on, but it's one of the possibilities. But I did already think of this before they said that, for the record. And that is, of course, it's not a surprise because so many people want it, a villain land. And whether you call it the evil lair or villain land or whatever, I say that that should be a land. So here are my attractions. Again, Yzma's wrong lever still belongs in the villain land. So regardless, it should be built. Disney needs to listen to me and build an Yzma's wrong lever. All right, get those Imagineers working on how to do a drop and then into a roller coaster.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't need to go over that one again. The next one is a water ride. Now, whether it's a raft ride or a log ride, I'm not really sure. It's escaping the Sea Witch. So basically getting away from Ursula. Maybe you're caught in a storm at some point. I don't know. I think for sure there will be large tentacles that you're dodging, and then sometimes they splash into the water and it splashes you and gets you all wet. I almost envision it almost as at least partially indoor, even though it's water, because I just think it should be dark and all of that. So maybe almost like Pirates, but a little bit more fast paced, because I think Pirates would be a little too leisurely for escaping something.
Yeah, definitely.
So it needs to be quicker than that. And I don't know. Basically, I guess it would depend on how the ride really ended up as to whether or not it would be suitable for all ages. It might have a height limit. We already know that Yzma's would have a height limit. And so my third attraction would be really geared towards the kids, but I think everyone would enjoy watching it, is something along the lines of the training academy. What do they call it? For the Star Wars, the training academy.
Oh,
what was it
like
called?
The Jedi.
Jedi training academy, just like that, but the villain training academy.
Yeah.
And I could go either way on this. I think it'd be more fun to have it be where they're being trained to be villains and they're learning potions and spells or something. But it could also be to fight villains. So I think that both would be fun. I personally like the villain training.
Yeah.
But anyways, having that be an attraction would be really fun for the kids. Okay, so for my food options, my first one is the poisoned apple. And the Disney has all of their caramel apples, and they're all fun and decorated. This one would be exclusively for villains. So you'd have all the villain decorated apples, and they'd have that. And you could have other treats in there too. Maybe you have like some Alice in Wonderland, like eat me or eat this or whatever, drink this.
Oh yeah.
But any kind of treats and snacks and stuff that would fit in could go in there too. But specifically they would have, that would be their main thing, is the poisoned apple.
Yeah.
I think it would be crazy not to include this, even though I wouldn't eat any of it, but Ursula's sushi, like Ursula's sushi bar.
Huh.
Because at Disney World, they do have sushi in Japan, in the Japan showcase at Epcot. But really, other than that, I don't think there's sushi in any of the parks. And there's no sushi I don't believe there's sushi in any of the either of the Disneyland parks. And so I think that while I don't like sushi, so many people do, that would be a really good one. And it would be, with Ursula, would be a great one to have that. My third one, and this is the best, you have to do this. You have to do this. If you're having a villain land, we need to have a meet and greet. So this is for sure a sit-down restaurant, a table service meal, but it's a meet and greet. And you've got your classic villains will be there. You have to have Maleficent, which I don't think she is really in the parks. We have the Evil Queen, but I've never seen Maleficent. But I for sure want Maleficent there. I, of course, want Yzma there. But I also think that Anastasia and Drizella should be there. Now, Lady Tremaine could be there as well, but I love Anastasia and Drizella.
Yeah.
I think that they'd be extra fun. Anyway, so a bunch of villains, whoever works out. Oh, Dr. Facilier, I think, should be there. Anyway, so yeah. And then for a shop, I don't know, if the land's not called the Evil Lair, you could have the shop be called the Evil Lair. I haven't really thought of a shop name, but so that's where I'm lacking in this one, I think.
Wow.
So what do you think?
I like it.
Yeah, I think that Disney, if they do have a villain land, will do a much better job than I have. Although if they don't have Yzma's wrong lever, then they will have totally dropped the ball. And also the poison apple, because I really like that. Oh yeah, and the meet and greet.
So
So those 3 things they have to do, or else they're gonna really just
Yeah.
be missing out on an opportunity. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So those are our made up plans.
You could definitely tell who had put more time
It's
into
just
this.
that just cracks me up, because I was sure that as soon as you even suggested this, you had a whole idea of what you wanted to do.
I did.
And that was
I
like
just
weeks
didn't
ago.
really think about it.
Yeah.
I get
funny.
distracted. To be honest, I forgot about it until you brought it up like a couple of days ago.
And I've brought it up like every day since then. I'm like, don't forget. Have you been thinking about this?
And each time I've forgotten.
Yep. Anyways, okay. So that was what we came up with. Now we talked about, we have an announcement.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit of a sad announcement, at least for me. It's bittersweet,
Yeah,
I think.
it's bittersweet.
So here's the deal. We've been doing this for almost 2 years. It's our 100th episode. We do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
However, it takes a bit of time, and with me working full time and you in school, it's starting to become a little bit more difficult and challenging. And so we are going to take a break.
Yeah.
And don't know exactly what that means. For now we're going to stop recording regular podcasts.
Yeah.
I also think that because when we started doing this, I signed up with I don't know what you call them, the provider or supplier or whatever, that actually does have a little bit of a fee. And it's not a huge amount, but it's becoming more and more. And if we're not recording, I'm going to cancel that, which means that our episodes are going to disappear on all of the podcast locations. So Spotify and Apple Podcasts or iTunes and all that. So I'm going to leave it up for a couple more weeks, and then I'm going to close those. But the good news is that our YouTube account is free and it's not connected to the podcasts, and so those will remain up. So if anyone wants to go and listen to past or watch past episodes, then you can always find those on YouTube, our YouTube channel. But as far as our podcast channels, I'm going to discontinue that. I'm not going to even pay for the archives because, again, I don't want to keep paying if we're not really doing it. And if we do start again with regular podcast episodes, I think I'm going to go a different route that's free.
Yeah.
That I've learned about since then. And so we will kind of almost be starting over. But to be honest, I don't know how much we're going to do podcasts. I think that if anything, we've got our Instagram and we've got the YouTube. We can put content on there. Like, we're going to go to Disneyland, you and I, in 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to go for the Halloween season. And if we want to put up some stuff, we may.
Yep.
But I don't know. I feel bad in some ways because I really enjoy this, but it takes a lot of time for me to do research, and I am working full time, and I don't have enough time to do the things I'm supposed to be doing at home already. Like, the house is messier than it usually is, and anyways, so it's sad, but we're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Bittersweet. This whole time I've been at school, and so I kind of had the whole, like, I have to, like, my time's taken up by school. And so, like, for me, most of the time it's sort of been where it kind of was a bit more of a chore instead of
enjoyable.
Yeah, and, like, at first it was definitely super enjoyable, but as, like, school got more busy, I sort of, like, it was always, like, I always felt like it was taking up time that I could be using for other things that I didn't necessarily have a ton of time for. And so it is a bit of a relief, but at the same time, it's like...
It's been fun. Yeah. And I mean, I still have tons of ideas. We've started things like our attraction spotlight that we do every month and things like that, where we still have so much content we could do stuff on, but a lot of it requires some planning and research, and that's what I just don't have the time for anymore, because usually it would take me a good 2-3 hours at least to do some research and planning before an episode, and then our recording, and then my editing, and then uploading, and honestly, I just don't have usually on most weeks that much time to give to it. So anyways, and I know that you were the same, and when we first started, you would do some research when we had talked about the topics so that you were prepared, and it's harder for you to do that now, even with the stuff you're interested in, like as in like this episode.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, yeah. So we are going to say goodbye for now. Keep following our YouTube and Instagram for sure, because we will occasionally throw up some stuff there, and we'll let you know when we start up again if we do with podcast.
Yeah.
Sound good? Thanks so much for tuning in for these past 100 episodes and for supporting us and listening and laughing and maybe sometimes totally disagreeing with us. That's okay too. But thanks so much. We have enjoyed it very much. And for now, we'll just say goodbye for now.
Bye.